Conscious Collaboration brings together entrepreneurs, changemakers, and thought leaders. We aim to highlight the people that embody the idea of aligned mind, body, and business. Each week, we share, discuss, and learn from the various experiences and ideas of our guest experts. Through our discovery, we find a path to an aligned mind, body, and business.
What up, my little Tootsie Pops? This is Emily.
And I'm Lisa.
My little Tootsie Pop.
I accept name. That. I accept that endearing nickname. Yeah. But if anyone else calls me that, it would just be weird.
It would be weird. But I just called our whole audience that. So
yes,
weird.
We are the weirdest conscious collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
So let's do some aligning of mind, body, and business today and visit the topic of the easiest form, the most acceptable form of getting our mindset right. And that is a daily practice of meditation.
Yes.
I mean, is that something that you find time for in your day or your weekly practices?
I'm going to say yes, but maybe not necessarily in the ways that a lot of people kind of think of meditation, but I'm definitely able to find time to achieve what I feel to be a meditative state. How about that?
Yeah, I like that. And I'll say that I'm really always curious about meditation, and it is a big part of what I do. And I'm lucky that it's a part of what I do in my career because it gives me a little bit of time to devote to getting into that state on an almost daily basis. But as a busy mom and operating two businesses, a lot of times my most well-intentioned practices do fall to the wayside.
Of course.
So I'm always looking for ways to integrate some of these practices in a more efficient, effective way and get those benefits because the benefits are really good.
Yeah, for sure. We have thousands and thousands of studies on that. And we were talking about the mom thing before we started recording. It's like there's certain points where, especially in the evening, you go to sit down for a lovely evening meditation. And even if it's only intended to be 5 minutes, if you close your eyes at that point, it moves out of meditation and just becomes your sleep.
It does. And
we got to find alternate solutions to traditional schedules.
It is really hard for me to close my eyes in the evening and not immediately pass out and fall asleep. Yes. And I really greatly appreciate that time that I get sleeping now that I know.
But it's also important to find true restful rest where we're not scrolling our reels. I'm never going to stop scrolling reels, but we don't need to do it all the time. It's not truly rest because our brain is stimulated. So we need to take advantage of those waking times where we actually get some true regenerative rest.
Yeah. So what are some of the benefits that we know to be proven through meditation?
Basically every measurable health factor you can think of is improved with a daily meditation practice. Blood pressure, stress, anxiety, depression, literally every physical or mental ailment you could think of would be somewhat improved by incorporating a regular meditation practice.
So while you were talking, I just did a little quick Google meditation just to get another perspective to add in. So Forbes Health says, what is meditation? It's a mind-body practice in which your attention is focused on being mindful of the present, your breath, and your mind to promote awareness, cultivate well-being, and reduce stress and anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I believe, and I don't see the study in here where it says I know I've heard this before, but just 20 minutes or maybe it's 15 minutes of meditation is the equivalent of a certain amount of hours of good quality sleep.
Yeah. Yeah. I believe that. I believe that.
Yeah. So, and I'm really curious, like you mentioned, there's alternative ways that we can meditate, and I've tried a few of those myself, and a lot of them through various events that I have found really cool and interesting. But for myself, and I'm not sure, maybe you can verify this for me, but I feel that there have been times I've been able to achieve a similar state or helpful state of awareness by doing things that involve movement, not what you
Yeah,
put
absolutely.
meditation to be.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, if you go back to that definition, I don't think it said anything about stillness or what, besides the breathing and the attention to breathing. That was a really broad definition that I think a lot of activities or ways of going about it could apply to, for sure, could fit into that category. So I believe that meditation, along with yoga, and the definition of it should be really personalized to every person. Because to have that experience that you just read in the general definition, might look completely different for me than it would for somebody else. And so I have, and granted, this means that I need more of this, but I am one of those people who has a tendency towards difficulty being still.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Right. So sometimes trying to achieve a perfectly still meditative state actually just kind of seems to power up my thinking or overthinking, right? And it just becomes a space for overthinking if I don't have some sort of movement or challenge. So ways specifically that I've found to put myself in a meditative state, both my Qigong and I would take some Bikram Hot 26 style yoga classes way back in the day. Both of those teachers referred to those practices as active meditations or moving meditations. And that really clicked something for me personally, because I'm like, oh, totally. I can look at this physical practice in this way of like, this is actually my time for meditation. And it just clicked for me. And I really got a lot more out of it once I put that intention into it. And another thing that I've become really fond of over the last handful of years is going to the infrared sauna. And with that heat challenge, or on the same token, in a cold challenge, like an ice bath or a cold plunge situation, I've absolutely been able to go deeper into a meditative state than I think doing anything else I've ever tried. And something that I kind of say as a joke, but I kind of mean it too, when I'm doing certain, especially when I get, in a very low rep range on certain lifts that just require a ton of effort, deadlifts and hip thrusts in particular, I swear, I actually end up achieving a state of calm that seems like contradictory to what I'm doing.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I think because, I choose to apply it in a less sort of traditional way, I think everybody should apply it how it best resonates for them to really get those benefits of meditation. And maybe one person reaps like certain benefits differently than another,
Mm-hmm.
which kind
Yeah.
of goes into also our discussion that we were having before we recorded about whether meditation was always a spiritual practice or not.
Mhm. Right. Yeah. I mean, it certainly can be. There's that question, is it spiritual or can it be religious? And I guess it can be.
Yeah, sure,
And
it can be
for
if
sure.
that's what if that's what takes you there, right?
Yeah, exactly. But it doesn't have to be.
Right.
Looking through all the different cultures and all the different religions, they do have some sort of check-in or going inward, and
Mm-hmm.
um, that inner center aspect of it is incorporated in a lot of, like you said, yoga, Buddhism, Taoist, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of philosophies do use some sort, and Christianity too, with prayers, you know,
Mm-hmm.
um, that type of thing, and feng shui, and the type of feng shui that I practice, which is Black sect Tibetan Buddhist. We use
Mm-hmm.
a lot of mantras, and so our meditations can be mantra based. And then there's also guided meditations, and even like shamanic. Um,
Shamanic. I was
right.
thinking of Rastas too.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, there's so many different types. It's like choose your weapon, what you're
Right.
going to
Right.
experience, or what you need for the day, maybe, or what works with your practice. I think.
Right. Just don't ever let anybody tell you that there's only one way to do it. Like I think
Mhm.
one of the constant qualities of meditation is that there are no rules, right? Like that kind
Right.
of takes away from the benefit of it. If you
Yeah.
start to add rigidity and rules to the practice.
Right. Yeah. I think to your point, you have like this variety of resources and approaches that you gravitate towards in getting to that state, or we were talking about finding that equilibrium or homeostasis point, and
Mhm.
you have like a whole like toolbox that you choose from and what fits the scenario. And I think that works really well
Oh,
for.
I forgot to mention the red light too. I like to sit in front of my red light, just stick my face in front of it. I
Yeah.
do that every night right before I go to sleep. And I pretty much fall asleep as soon as my head hits the pillow.
I love the
So I
red
would say
light
that's
too.
a pretty good meditative tool if you put that
Mhm.
intention into it.
Yeah, I mean, I can certainly, whenever I put the timer on the red light and sit there for 15 minutes or whatever, it feels
Mhm.
like 5 seconds. I mean,
Mhm.
the same as if I were to meditate in nature, like the time goes by and you're like, did that even happen?
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
mean, so as long, as we can find even just those small moments, getting to that state without falling asleep.
Mhm.
That's the hardest part for a lot of people out there, I think, like us that are, maybe single parents and business owners, and you're like, maybe the evening practice is not like the optimal place to get the maximum benefits there and find the time in the
Right.
morning. But there's so many different ways that we can access the benefits of meditation, and they don't have to be even something that everybody else does.
Right. It can be if you just want to sit cross-legged, sit still and listen to your breath for 20 minutes. Cool, you can do that, but it doesn't have to look that way.
Mm-mm. I agree. So we were talking a little bit about that idea of, before we got started in recording, and the idea of returning to that humility, that sense of self, and having that ability to remove, or just not remove ourselves from the roller coaster, but being able to return ourselves to that center point and having that humility, even if, for example, we were talking about in times of great success and opportunities and abundance, we can detach ourselves from center and not be aligned, which will hurt us in our sustainability, and success will be short lived. And likewise, on the low end, there is that tendency to go about life in a low vibe kind of way that's just kind of attracting nothing, without going within and getting to that state of humility again and that homeostasis, either extreme, is not helping us over the long term.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I thought of that as like also removing your ego from it, because a lot of meditation is like becoming an observer, right? Becoming an observer of whatever's going on. It could be physical, it could be more emotional, energetic. But if your ego is too involved in that, and you don't bring that humility into your practice, whatever it looks like, then you're not going to really get the true observations that you need to happen, right? Or if you're, if it's emotional stuff you're dealing with, like that's your opportunity to rise above it and just look at it and acknowledge it, but not fall below it and drown in it.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And that's something that comes up a lot in whatever it is that we're talking about together, as we're talking about mind and body and business, is that we're looking for ways to remove ourselves from that ego experience. And it's a constant maintenance, whether we're talking about finding other ways to practice non-attachment to things, but we can get attached to circumstances as well. Whether, I mean, obviously they are reality that are happening, or circumstances around us, but it's not a forever circumstance.
Right.
So I can see that meditation being a great way to really connect in with that
neutrality.
Thank you. Now,
that place of being okay if it does, or okay if it doesn't.
Yeah, exactly. So you mentioned yoga being one active form of meditation. Yeah, and we were talking a little bit earlier about that, like running, or like that.
Running, or just even like my walks outside with my music on. Like I'm very much kind of on another plane. I'll give people, I walk by, a little head nod or something, but I'm not really coming out of my bubble,
Yeah, you're just more like, I
definitely
see you.
look forward to those times as like a restorative situation. So the walks, the yoga, even just intentional breathing,
right,
I think is very much meditation, whether it's a particular style of breath work or just deep intentional breath. That's if you're like, oh my God, I don't know how to meditate, like chill out. You just literally just breathe and pay attention to it, and you're meditating.
So like modern day meditation, and like, all right, here's another thing too, having children. Is meditation something that needs to be taught to be able to do, or do you believe that children meditate?
I mean, I think you have to model it. Yeah. I think you have to model it. I think they latch onto it really quickly. I know Olivia picked it up. My daughter picked it up a couple of times along the way, both from me, but they were teaching it at her daycare too. They were teaching them
that's so nice.
Pause and deep breath, and they would have people come in and do little yoga classes and little meditations. So I think it needs to be modeled, but I think they take to it really, because especially when they're younger, 2 and 3 and stuff like that, and they don't really have all the language to like express themselves. So if they have a tool to soothe themselves, I think that's freaking amazing.
Yeah. I mean,
I
I
think
was
we
trying
have
to
to
think
model it,
back,
and I think we should.
like, yeah, definitely. I was thinking back to being a child, like as early as I can remember, and thinking about like, we didn't have a lot of electronics, or even like TV didn't have programs on it for us all the time. Um, for like our generation. So we had to do a lot of self keeping ourselves busy and
Playing outside.
playing outside or sitting in nature. And like, I'm wondering, like, were some of our activities ever meditative? Like when we would get, you know, sit, in nature, or collecting, whatever we were doing.
Yeah.
And I wonder if it's just meditation as a part of, who we are as humans. And then we get to a place in life where we're so inundated by all like the things that we have to do to keep health and
Yeah. We
business,
unlearn
where we
so
unlearn it.
much stuff. Yeah. We unlearn so much stuff just by becoming adults in the modern world.
Yeah, it's true. I think and I look at the kids sometimes when they're playing, and it almost seems like they're in that inner thinking, kind of like, I know if they're playing by themselves, they're kind of like muttering. I know they're not chanting mantras or anything, but
Mm-hmm.
they're focusing on one things and like quiet and like inner and calming down and kind of like
Mm-hmm.
detaching from things that are excitable, or too much music or TV or or
For
whatever.
me, when I was a kid, definitely music and art, like drawing and painting and stuff
Yeah.
like that would have been that for me.
Yeah. I mean, now that you bring it up too, that's like the rise in popularity of like those coloring books, the adult coloring books
Yes, those
that
are
are
great,
for,
especially the ones with the curse words.
I've not seen those.
If you ever have an occasion where you feel like you want to buy me a gift,
That would be it.
they're great. They're
I mean, I kind of do. And then you can
expensive.
hang them up.
I will be happy with that.
I like that idea.
Those are supposed to be meditative though. Yeah.
Yeah. Because you're just able to just focus in on filling in between the lines, whatever color floats your boat, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like that art therapy aspect of it. But yeah. So what can we do? What can we inject to those listening at home? First, like just to recap, as we're talking about the importance of aligning our minds and our bodies and our businesses, um, the importance of having some sort of
Yeah.
check the box somewhere in meditation.
My biggest takeaway would be, because a lot of times we can do this thing, it happens in fitness and other things as well,
Mhm.
where if we think we're not going to be good at something, or if we think we don't know how to do something, we just don't do it. We
Right.
just don't start it. Right. I
Yeah.
think we've talked about that fear of success and fear of failure and all this
Yeah.
stuff, all these reasons why this might happen. But so don't be that guy. Don't just not start because you're worried about doing it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to do it wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just do something and,
Do something.
give it a little trial and error. There's a bajillion free guided meditations on YouTube. Play around, see what resonates with you. If none of that floats your boat, go for a walk, learn how to deadlift. I don't know.
It doesn't have to be
Get you
serious to
an
that
Atapa
point.
Red Light with our Conscious Collaboration discount.
Yeah.
Try things and see what kind of gets you in that zone. You'll know. You don't
Mhm.
need the apps are cool and the headbands and the biofeedback and all that. Those are amazing, but you don't need that to
Mhm.
know that you've found your thing.
Right. And maybe your thing changes all the time, especially if you're a Gemini.
Yes, especially if you're a Gemini
or other air sign that finds it
Got
interesting.
it.
Yeah, I'm thinking, I mean, personally, in terms of meditation, I want to try out more of a variety like you're mentioning. I think that would enhance my practice more and make it more intentioned. I do a lot of outward, that doesn't make any sense because meditation is inward, but I do a lot of meditating for the purpose of like helping others. I use a lot of mantras in meditation, that type of thing, guided audio meditations and soundtracks. I love those. But I think for me, in terms of like sharing with everybody things that we can do in an easy, like everyday basis to get us into that place of alignment where we can be our strongest, I would say is, I like what you're saying about being more alternative in your approach about doing things. And perhaps like for me or any like parents out there, I'm going to make it more of a goal to share that 15, 20 minutes in the evening with the children. And so I round out the day with the morning and the evening in that practice.
Well, maybe you'll find that getting an uninterrupted, 10 minutes of play in with no, phone or whatever would do the trick for you.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It might. I like it.
Be creative.
In
your meditative quest.
Yes. Creativity. Don't have to be serious all the time.
No.
And I think it's really entertaining because we did a little Google search about the Dalai Lama in meditation, and
he watches TV in the morning.
He watches TV as part of his morning routine. Mind you, he's watching about.
He's also meditating 4 to 5 hours a day after that, so he doesn't have to squeeze in his morning meditation.
No, the whole day is meditation for the Dalai Lama. And I know that, that was probably like a huge barrier for him during COVID and not wanting to go outside because of health reasons and all of that. But, there you go right there. Someone who embraces the ancient practices of meditation is also embracing modern and even electronics. So we don't have to be so serious or so strict or restrictive about ways that we are getting to that place of center for ourselves and balance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Unless you're into that. If it feels good to have a routine and do the same thing every day, then do that.
Yes.
I'm rooting for you.
Tootsie Pop.
Tootsie Pops. Teach you a meditation, my little Tootsie Pop.
I think we should share. I have a great soundtrack that I give to my clients and also sell a meditation soundtrack, share that within the Conscious Collaboration Collective.
Yes.
As a little freebie.
Exclusive content.
Exclusive content alert. So everyone can, give that a try on for size and see if that works for them in getting to that place where they're restoring themselves and getting to that higher vibe and attracting in abundance. And maybe others can share their practices inside there as well. Yeah. All right, Emily. Well, I think this has been fun. We got a good
always.
Stirred it up a little bit. If anyone wishes to join us for more conversation around meditation, what works for you, what doesn't work for you, what barriers are you hitting, we want to help work that through with you in the Conscious Collaboration Collective, our closed and private Facebook group. You can find the link provided in the description, and we'll continue the conversation inside there.
Love it.
I love it too. All right, Emily, Tootsie Pops. I'll talk to you
Tootsie
5.
Pops. Bye, kids.
Bye.
Thank y'all so much for listening to our podcast. If you haven't yet, please be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share with all your friends so they can join our circle of collaboration on this journey. You can find us on Instagram at Conscious Collaboration Podcast, on Spotify, iTunes, and Audible, to name a few.
Please join us next time for another deep dive into how you can live life in more alignment, mind, body, and business. Send us your questions and comments in our DMs or email us at consciouscollaborationpodcast@gmail.com. See you in 5 minutes.